Okay, Morocco won 2-0 last night, right? Great start to the AFCON 2025 campaign. As the host nation, it was expected that they were going to win the opening game, right? But then, you could actually sense that there was an element of, creativity. There was an element of flair that was actually missing in this Morocco team. And let's point it out to Hakim Ziyech, bro. So Ziyech, bro, like his absence really is becoming noticeable looking at Morocco's performance last night against Comoros, right? And you have to go back to the fact that Ziyech is one of Morocco's most creative and experienced attackers. He's known for his vision, his set piece quality, and his ability to actually unlock defenses. So those were actually the qualities that did help Morocco reach the semi-finals at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. However, unfortunately, he is not part of Morocco's AFCON 2025 squad. This is largely due to the fact that he's still working his way back from injury and he has lacked competitive minutes, leading to the coaching staff to actually omit him, from the squad due to fitness and readiness reasons. You understand? Despite his high level of pedigree. You understand? But look, Morocco without Ziyech, bro, Ziyech's absence, you can actually tell that it impacts Morocco's playing style. You understand? And I'll tell you for a couple of reasons, bro. Number one, there's less creative spark in that attacking midfield for Morocco. You understand? Because Ziyech's ability to actually create chances from deeper wide positions, bro, especially in tight games, is something Morocco has to do without. You understand what I'm saying? And teams that press or sit deep, it disadvantages Morocco slightly more without his ball progression as well as those key passes that he often makes. And then number two, bro, Morocco now has to rely on other attackers. You understand what I'm saying? Because they still have a strong attacking group, which includes players like Brahim Diaz, Yusuf El Nesiri, Ayub El Kabi, Sofian Rahimi, as well as other players, right? Who do offer goals in width. But with Ziyech's absence, bro, you can actually see that like these players need to actually, shoulder on. They need to actually unite as a group to actually create, extra creative responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, you can actually see, bro, like with that performance against Comoros, that like there was lack of creativity, bro. You know what I mean? And it's due to Ziyech's absence. And then thirdly, bro, I feel like, yeah, as a coach if you're a Morocco coach, bro, you have to actually compensate. You need to have a more dynamic front line, which doesn't rely on a single playmaker. You understand? Maybe that can actually make Morocco harder to predict, but it also means that the team has to compensate collectively. I meant to say they have to compensate collectively for the creative role that Ziyech once played. You understand what I'm saying? And which actually means that, look, bro, Morocco are gonna have to really grind results. And in tournament football, it's not about playing pretty football. You just need to grind results at times. And I feel like that's exactly what happened in last night's victory against the Comoros. However, what I can just say is that like the absence of Hakim Ziyech, bro, at AFCON 2025, it is a real loss, in terms of individual creativity as well as big game composure. But it hasn't fundamentally derailed Morocco's title chances because they still have a load of quality forwards and midfielders to actually carry the load. And I guess even the coach has actually adapted, to particular tactics to actually emphasize on collective on actually like a collective unity and not to actually rely on one single playmaker. You know what I'm saying? But look, yeah, man, I feel like Morocco can still win without him, but nah, like his absence really, there's really signs that like, man, his absence is really affecting them in terms of that like that final decision making in the attacking third. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the players are lacking that, that decision making, and that final third was really very poor from Morocco in that game against Comoros. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that in another video.